Hello guys and welcome back to another video. As you know, I'm the Lightup tutor and this is the only channel you need for GCSE English. So today we're going to be going through Scrooge in Stave 1. All things grade 9 analysis, keywords, other quotes you can use to make sure you're hitting that top band and being different from the rest of the students. Of course, all of this stuff is from the Lightup Hub as always, and hopefully you'll be one of our students to join when it relaunches. Okay, let's get ready. Let's get into the video. So get your pen, get relaxed, and let's start revising. Okay, Scrooge in Stave 1. Now, it is so important to understand Scrooge at the beginning of the novella because it makes a good point of comparison when we're comparing him to the end. If we can talk about and really understand him at the beginning and then compare him at the end, that is a really high level skill that the examiner is looking for because you're just developing that insightful point that many students may not. Some key words about Scrooge in Stave 1. Parsimonious. Now, I love this word to describe Scrooge, and it means that he is really stingy. So instead of saying selfish, we can say parsimonious. He's really stingy with his money, and we see that with his reluctance to give to the charity people. The second grade 9 word is ostracized. Now, ostracized basically means that he has isolated himself from society. So he has completely ostracized himself from society. He's willingly done that because he doesn't want to interact with anybody else. Hence, we really see that miserable persona come from Scrooge in Stave 1. And the third word is apathetic, basically meaning he has little concern or regard for others, which can link quite nice to ostracized because he doesn't really care for anybody else. He's not interested, he shows no compassion, no love for anybody else, hence why he ostracizes himself because he doesn't feel that emotion towards anybody. Now let's look at a quote and let's use some grade 9 analysis on it. So a quote that I would definitely recommend for you all to use, which is great to show those keywords we just spoke about, is this quote in Stave 1. Squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous, old sinner. It seems like a mouthful. You don't need to remember all of those words, but you could condense the quote down if you wanted to. You could just write squeezing, wrenching, ... covetous, old sinner. That's a good way as well, a little top tip. If you want to condense down the quote, just use an ellipsis in the middle and you can kind of combine the quote together. So this quote has 7 adjectives. So we could see that from the use of the 7 adjectives, that perhaps Scrooge parallels the 7 deadly sins. Now, the 7 deadly sins in Victorian society were seen as the worst sins people could commit because the 7 deadly sins were set out from God, by religion, by Christianity, in the way to teach people how to be moral. So 7 deadly sins such as greed. Now, greed means more like a greed for money rather than an actual greed for food, because that's what they call gluttony. But we don't need to use that one. Wrath. Wrath is anger. That's a 7 deadly sin. We see a lot of anger in Scrooge. Pride. Pride is like your ego, the way that he kind of carries himself in society. We could argue that Scrooge has an ego. So we can see just from exploring 3 of the 7 deadly sins that Scrooge already embodies some of these. Therefore, through the 7 negative adjectives, it parallels the 7 deadly sins, instantly introducing him to us as a reader as a sinner. So from the beginning, we can see that he is almost deserving of this eternal punishment, which of course we see when Marley comes and tries to warn him about it. We already see this from the offset, so it kind of foreshadows this eternal punishment and his downfall. Foreshadow basically means that it's hinting to something in the future. Now, an alternative bit of analysis of that quote, because remember, alternative analysis is loved by the examiner and your teachers. We could look at the words squeezing and wrenching, for example. So they both connote a struggle. The connotation is a word closely associated with another word. So they both connote a struggle. So this could actually indicate perhaps Scrooge struggles to assimilate, to blend into society. It could show, because we talked about the idea of a struggle, that Scrooge actually doesn't understand the struggles of the poor because he's too wrapped up in his own materialism, pursuit for money, and he's completely forgot to be compassionate and benevolent, loving to people in society. So another amazing quote you could use for Scrooge in Stave 1 is external heat and cold had little influence on him. That idea that nothing in the surroundings had influence on him because he was so internally cold. We've got way more detailed analysis on that on the Lightup Hub if you want to see that. Another great one is the cold within him throws his old features. Again, it's reinforcing that idea of the cold. And on the Lightup Hub, we talk about cold as a conceit, that extended metaphor, and how you can explore that with Scrooge in Stave 1. So that is a bit of a short summary about Scrooge in Stave 1. We've got some grade 9 quotes in there, and analysis, and keywords, and it'd be plenty for you to put into your analysis. So as always, make sure you give this a like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know anything you want to see, because we'll always be looking at those comments. And of course, keep your eyes peeled for the relaunch of the Lightup Hub. It's so exciting, and hopefully we see you there as one of our subscribers. Bye guys.